USA Warrior Stories is a not-for-profit organization designed to record, archive, and share videos of veterans' stories, to help veterans make a connection with one another and to help us all better understand their sacrifices for our freedoms.
I am born and raised Long Islander. I grew up in Nassau County in Belmore. It was a very good childhood. We had a nice small community. Went to Catholic school, and for 8 years, and then into the public school system. I didn't have much of a mentorship going through high school. I kind of almost didn't make it through high school, but I did see something in the future. I just didn't know what that was and how to get out of the community and see the world. I love to travel. My dad worked for Pan Am, so we did a lot of travel as kids. And so I had this urge to learn what was outside of Long Island. It was 4 years after high school that I had come across the Air National Guard, which is the reserve of the Air Force.
You dream about being a leader. The Air National Guard makes it a reality. Take your life to new heights with a greater purpose and a global mission. Get military training, serve close to home, and protect others all over the world. It's time to take off.
I'm the oldest of 3 kids. I'm the only daughter. And there was never encouragement to be in military service, especially for women back then. So this was really outside everybody's comfort zone. When I came home one day with a recruiter package and I said to my parents at 21 years old, I said, I think I'm going to join the service. And they didn't believe me until I got onto that plane in March of 1989, and I was off to Lackland Air Force Base, San Antonio, Texas. When I left Long Island to go into service, the person that left never came back, because once I got down to Lackland, I was completely transformed. What I thought was only going to be a 6-year career, go to college, get the GI Bill, turned into what I knew was going to be a lifetime. Something about it clicked, understanding what it is to be a part of a team, something that's bigger than you. So I went right into a federal technician program, so I wore the uniform every day. 2 years after my service, my first enlistment, we were in Desert Storm, and that changed everything. For the way the Air Guard and the reserves deployed, the way we were seen as a military component of the active duty. From what I experienced is that we were taken more seriously. 2 years into my service time, I also met someone who happens to be my husband now of 30 years. So he also came from service. As people meet when you're working together, he was the guy I hung out with when I didn't have a date, and it just turned into something else. So we were married in 1992, and I became a first sergeant in the Air National Guard in the United States Air Force, and that's the rank of E7. So I was now coming into a leadership role. I was the first sergeant on duty with our unit on 9/11. We had actually just had the weekend drill before that day, and we were getting prepared to go on deployment. We did go on the deployment. We were in Kuwait. I was only there for a month, so I did not see combat. I share that openly because I had a very positive experience, although when you go on a deployment and you go and serve in your uniform, you can always find yourself in harm's way at some point, so you're always prepared. I was part of the 106 rescue mission. The rescue mission is basically the pararescue team. These are the guys that go up and save lives. I was just honored to be a part of the support side of that. But our unit was pretty stable. We did our mission there in Kuwait. I came home in time for the holidays. As my career progressed, I became a senior master sergeant, which in the Air Force is an E8. I took on a more of an administrative role in headquarters. So all the service time I was here on Long Island. I was at the unit in Roslyn back in the late 80s, early 90s, and then I transferred to the 106th in 1994, and that's where I spent 20 of the 24 years that I served there. But I had opportunities to go across the country in training and education initiatives, which was really exciting for me. Not so much for my family, because I was constantly leaving. So although I didn't have a lot of service time overseas, I did spend many, many days, weeks, months away from my family. And we had young kids at the time. It was tough for them. I mean, I remember when I was at the First Sergeant Academy in 1999, I had called to see how the family was, pre-cell phones, and my sister-in-law was watching the kids, and she said, she goes, "Oh, I didn't know that Sam was walking yet." And he was a year and a half old, and I go, "I didn't know he was walking yet," as the tears start falling down. But those are the sacrifices that you make. I became a Chief Master Sergeant, and I took that job very seriously because I knew that the airmen around me, they were trusting me with my leadership and my service to them. It was no longer about Marcelle, it was no longer about me, it was about being Chief Leis. It was about making the sacrifices that you have to make sure that everybody around you is supported, just like people did for me. Because when I first came in service, I didn't see too many people that looked like me, females in leadership positions. There were a couple that I saw that I wanted to be at some point, and they helped me through the process. So now I'm serving in this capacity. It's time for me to pay it forward to the people that are coming up behind me. And I had some female airmen that have come to me in the past and said that they saw something that they could be if they wanted to. And so I was very grateful for those opportunities. In 2013, after retirement, I was introduced to the Joseph Dwyer Veterans Peer Support Project. Joe Dwyer was a combat medic that was inspired to enlist at 9/11, and he became a medic who served multiple deployments and unfortunately came back with the signature wound of the modern-day OIF wars of post-traumatic stress. It's the iconic symbol of the Iraq and Afghan wars. Joe, during the middle of a firefight, carrying a young Iraqi boy who had just been shot. And his buddies around him were keeping him alive because they were firing back because it was a live firefight. And the boy was saved. And Joe was just on Time magazine, and it was everywhere. It was iconically, like I said, the symbol of the war at its time. Joe openly sought help, but there weren't people that understood the lived experience that he was. And as a military service member myself, I know how difficult it is for us as the helping professionals, the first responders, to ask for help. And there weren't peer programs like there are today. Unfortunately, Joe was self-medicating, and he died by an accidental overdose. He did not take his life. And in honor of Joe and other fallen service members who struggled to reintegrate, the Dwyer Project was born. And so this is a peer-to-peer program of peers helping peers that are trained to be able to go in there and work with people that are at risk. So we have many groups, activities throughout the county. Unfortunately, a lot of them shut down during the pandemic, but we're up and running again. And those groups are very successful for people that want to come in and have that sense of socialization with people that understand what it is to have been in service. Our Dwyer Project, our main event, is our annual Day of Wellness. And we are on the calendar at Camp Aquatic in Center Moriches for Saturday, June 10th of 2023. Everybody that comes to that brings their services, does it free of charge. It's a complement of holistic wellness disciplines. We have a healthy partnership with the Veterans Yoga Project. We also have a great partnership with Warrior Ranch Foundation. They come in with their equine therapy. We have local massage therapists, family therapists that come in and offer their services. Part of our message is that we're not all coming home broken. Many of us come back thriving and surviving. I had a wonderful career and a very smooth transition. Although losing the identity and the sense of purpose, regaining it in other ways. We want people to know out there that there is help, there is hope, and there's healing, just like Joe's legacy. Joe didn't want to die, Joe wanted to be saved. And if we're saving lives right now through his legacy, then we're doing our job. So it's like being in service again, just not wearing a uniform. It's a different uniform. And meeting so many wonderful people, so many people that are wanting to help, so many people that are struggling to reintegrate into the community after being in service, whether it was 6 years or 26 years. When we leave service, you leave that community and sense of purpose, so we try to repurpose them and help them reintegrate into whatever it is that their new narrative is going to be. I never consider myself other than one of the guys, because I felt that, as a female serving in the military, I had to prove myself time and time again to exceed the levels of expectation, just to show that we were able to stand side by side with our male counterparts. of all the accomplishments, it was Hurricane Sandy. When I joined the Guard, we were more about hometown heroes and more about natural disasters and local service. And then that shifted as after Desert Storm, and we did more of the deployments. And then in October of 2012, we hit with Hurricane Sandy, and we got activated. We were doing rescue efforts with Humvees to bring, to get people out of areas that were flooded. We were doing traffic control because the lights were out and we needed to have safety, so we were deploying people to go do that. And I was back behind with them, helping with the deployments of the personnel. And I was looking at the street addresses that we were sending them to, and I go, I know somebody that lives there. I know somebody that lives there. Lindenhurst, Babylon. I was like, wow, like this is why we do this. And that was a really important moment. The thing I find about the Guard is it becomes your family, more so I feel, this was my experience, than active duty. Because in active duty, you every 4 years you might PCS to another location, whereas I spent 24 years here in New York. I just had so many great experiences. Big Long Island hair, girl from the 70s and 80s that joins the service, completely outside of any norms that I knew. Going down to Lackland Air Force Base and coming back. I mean, I was like skinny and I was fit. I was 21 years old. And I came back and I'm like, I'm going to tackle the world. Thank you, Air Force. I was a badass. Fast forward in the early 90s, I'm driving a Humvee up the belly of a C-5. Like, this is cool. Yeah. I would not be who I am today if it wasn't for that experience.